Hello, Keith. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, Chief Perry. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain.
I'm loving this background that
You
you
loving
have
that?
going on.
Look, I can give you that one, but I mean, I try not to give them the one that blows me away.
Okay, see, I can't.
Look. Every time you look up,
I can't sit here with him going back.
correct. It would be hilarious.
Oh, where did you get those?
Those are online. They're online. I can forward
okay.
you the link. I'll forward you the link.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, so we're going to let a few more people get in here on this Wednesday that's raining and just cold.
But we're here in good health. So we'll
Yeah.
make the most of it.
Yes. All right, Chief Perry, this is my colleague and co-worker, Drew. He sort of helps monitor what's going on and all of that good stuff.
Hey, Drew.
Hey, how are you?
Ready new?
And I've got the wrong background. I need to switch that out. Hang on 1 second.
In case we get too deep into conversation and forget what we're supposed to be doing, Drew's here.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Or technical difficulties.
Yeah. Or sometimes Drew may get deep in the conversation and forget what we're doing here. So
right.
All right. We'll work it out together. No problem.
But as people are coming in, because our guests, they've heard this. This is what is this number 8, Drew, for us? I think it's number 8.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's Ask Me Anything. We just implemented it once we were all told work from home, just as something to do as a group, the union, and so we wanted to meet other people on campus and get to know them.
I love it.
So it's just questions. Some may be work related, but usually it tends to not be work related. It just tends to be more about who you are as a person. So we can get to know you a bit better. And so it's Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
But you don't have to answer everything. You can politely decline, or so that is pretty much all the rules that we have.
Who's the audience? Who's our main audience?
It is employees of the Carolina Union.
Okay.
So a lot of them have seen you around. So and they've seen a lot of your officers around. We get a lot that come through the Carolina Union. Ray comes a lot. We love Ray, but
He was the officer of the year. Oh,
was
no,
he?
Ray, because
The detective.
yeah, Ray Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, he's the officer of the year for the department.
Okay. And of course, we all love Taisha.
Officer Williams. Right,
Well,
right. I know y'all call her Taisha, right? Everybody has called her Taisha, but you know.
yeah. Okay.
They're there so often. We feel like we're on a
Well,
first name basis.
I call her that simply because that's how she introduced herself to me. So it's like,
and it's something I'm working on, because just like you said, Oliver, right? You said last name Oliver is, Williams, but she's a great employee that I'm.
oh yeah, she's
I'm
wonderful.
working to shape, mold, and develop.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump in and get started. For those of you joining us, of course, thank you for coming. Today we have the Sultan of the Segway, Officer Chief David Perry from UNC Police, and we're going to get to know him a little bit better. And I am going to start us off. So, Chief Perry, you have been here now a little over a year. I think it was around September.
September the 4th.
You started last year with no idea you were walking into a pandemic. So it's been a year, a very interesting year. So so far in the year, how have you found Chapel Hill? What do you think of it?
I love Chapel Hill. This is my first time ever visiting Chapel Hill. When I came for my interview, it was the first time I ever set foot on campus. And so it's just a new environment, but I love the surroundings. I love the feel that I get from the people for the most part. And the weather is what, I really have looked forward to. Different seasons, not the brutality of the humidity that I've dealt with it in Florida for the last 14 years. And I love the institution. I love the history. I love the prestige and how serious the students are about their academics here. It's really refreshing.
Well, good. Welcome to North Carolina. You've had a year to experience it, so you've seen all that the weather can bring, pretty much.
Keith loves the humidity for sure.
Oh,
No, I do not.
Mhm.
I don't do anything over 75 degrees, and Drew knows that.
Man, I'm with you.
I will take 5 inches of snow every day before I say I want it to be 90 degrees. I've read a little bit about you and your background, and I know that you are a military child. And so where do you call home?
I call home where both of my parents still live and reside, and that's Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
But home could take on many different meanings for me based on, my background, because right now this is home right here in Durham off of T.W. Alexander, way. That's my home. But, also I have home where my parents are and still family in Tallahassee.
Okay. So where are a few places that you've lived?
I've lived in Fort Dix, New Jersey. I've lived in, of course, Augusta, Georgia. I've lived in Frankfurt, Germany. I lived in Büdingen, Germany. And for those 3 years, I was a military dependent overseas. We traveled all over Paris, Copenhagen, Africa. We took different tours or USO hops. There were different trips that you could take once a month, and we would definitely go.
Okay. Awesome. So questions are coming in. One that I want to, have you always wanted to be a police officer?
I've always wanted to be an FBI or Secret Service agent. That was my dream job and my goal in life. And I took the Secret Service test twice. One time I didn't reach the score by 4 points. The second time I didn't reach it by 2 points. And so I was like, man, these questions are so out of the box. I mean, they're trying to really just keep me from getting this job, I thought. But it turns out that I got to do all those things that the Secret Service, FBI, and more were doing in my law enforcement career through being a drug task force agent and then being a senior administrator. I've worked with all those agencies. I've been a part of investigations. And so it seems like I really got the best of all the worlds and not having to travel and be at the mercy of the federal government. So that worked out really well.
Well, yeah, that's good. Secret Service, not ever something I've ever thought about ever being. Now I see it in the movies, and I always wanted one of those little earpieces, but I'm just like,
I got that. I got
but
the
you know, it's like I can go buy one of those. What is like? What do I need to now? So
Yeah, I was so serious about the federal career service field that I didn't get a tattoo because tattoos were like, you know, taboo when I was in college. It was like, no, because that identifies you. You could be undercover. So I've waited, but now it's on. I'm going to find a tattoo. So that's a little known fact. Tattoo is coming.
okay.
Do you know what it's going to be of yet?
Oh no, I'm trying to channel my rock or something. I'm trying to get that old, you know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Get
So
something really
well, we have one person in the union that says by the time they retire, they're going to have an entire sleeve.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yes. And she is within 5 years of retiring. So I'm ready to see how that turns out. I'm not going to say her name. But we have our first question from Benita. She asked, how many police officers do you currently have? And how many do we really need to operate fully?
Benita, that's a great question. I'm going to answer that live. We currently have 50, I just offered 2 conditional offers. So now we have 53 sworn officers and we have a max strength of 61. And so literally we have, you know, 8 vacancies that we still will carry. And those are very important positions. I know sometimes people want staffing just to say they have the numbers, but we have a very active campus. When we're in full session, we have a lot that goes on within our surrounding community. And then in any moment, we could have something happen as we did at the ambulatory care center. Thankfully, it wasn't the real deal, or at the hospital, or in a nearby business or something else. So our student population and our campus overall population warrants not just what we have, but even looking toward the future at other staff or combining resources with the hospital staff.
Okay. Because to my understanding, the hospital has their own set of police officers, correct?
Unbelievable, but yes.
Okay.
And before my arrival, Keith, there was no cooperation, there was no communication. The quote in the department from 20-year employees was, "We treat them like the plague." And so I'm like, that's the wrong mindset. And that just kind of shows you what the changes that are having to take place.
Especially when they're literally
feet
at your back door. Yeah. So a follow up and a little more on Benita's question. She asked, how well is your police department performing currently?
I will tell Ms. Brown that we're performing at a much more efficient and a more professional level than before I arrived. Accountability is huge. Transparency is a big deal, but just understanding your job and being responsive has taken on a whole different feel, you know, under my administration. Holding people responsible and addressing anything that's out of order immediately has been my goal. Deal with the little things, so when the big things come up, there's not even a question about where I stand on it.
Okay. Well, as someone who has been around the university, I went to undergrad here, as did Drew, for 22 years, I think I'm around about. We greatly appreciate it. Everything that you just said, because some of that was not there for a long time. So it is greatly appreciated. Just want to let you know that your work is appreciated and the work of all your officers is appreciated. Beth asked, what has been the most interesting training that you have completed in your career?
Wow, Beth, because you're looking at or you're hearing from a person who's been through 4 different police academies in 4 states. So I've been certified in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, now North Carolina. And that's a lot of different training sessions. But I think the most interesting that stands out, that stays with me for my career, it was called Top Gun Drug Enforcement Training when I flew to Seagirt, New Jersey for a week to train with the DEA on high-risk search warrants, entry, vehicle stops. And it was very intense because at the time I was a drug task force agent and not many people got to go to that type of training. And so to train with the feds and see how they do things and their techniques, that stays with me. But I've been to several other very impactful training sessions. Another one that jumps out is one where an officer survived the Sikh temple shooting. He was shot 12 times and survived that ordeal when an active shooter took the lives of several people at a mosque. He arrived to try to provide assistance. And just to hear his story of the will to survive, it is so important that we all have some inner strength when that moment comes that something could happen. You could be in a grocery store, you could be in a mall, and you got to find that inner strength to know that you're going to survive or you want to get through that event. So those two kind of stand out to me.
Okay. So of course we're in the Carolina Union. Drew and I's office, along with a couple other people, it faces South Road. So the big bank of windows, and then there's the entrances to Wendy's and all that. So that's our office. So we can see what goes on up and down the street. So we see you ride by.
We see you roll by.
We see you come by. So
tell me when you've seen the former administration, any other chief, name it when you see them ride by or come
I
by.
can't. To be honest, on a little side note, I could not have even told you what the former UNC police chief looked like. So that's just me.
That's part of it.
So Damu would like to know, as you ride by our office, what is the top speed of the Segway?
So I got to keep this legal so y'all don't, be like, see, you speeding on campus. But
Well, no, like in case you had to, you were in pursuit. Then
it's about 12 miles per hour. For you, it probably would be faster because I got a little extra luggage. So for you, it probably could get up to about 17, 18 miles an hour.
I don't know. I'm sitting down, so you can't really see what's.
You and Drew would fly on that thing.
Now, how did you get started with that? How did that come about?
Oh gosh, that started about 12 years ago when I saw the tool being used at airports and how people were coming up to the airport officers, speaking to them, but they could travel and cover so much territory. So it was really a force multiplier to be able to get around places quickly, safely, without burning gas or anything. But you can also interact with people because they want to know, what is that? I've had so many pictures since I've been at UNC of students stand on that, take pictures, and it's a way to, to start to communicate with people and have a conversation.
Yeah, I personally think I need one for when my supervisor and we have these meetings and she always wants to walk and it's above 75 degrees. And I'm like,
not happening.
Okay, I'll walk. Need a Segway.
I can catch that breeze and I can get there in no time.
So I know you stay very busy, but what is your favorite way to spend your day off when you have them?
I think my favorite way, if I could have a combination, can I have a combination, Keith?
You can do it however you want to.
So I want to get up and I want to cook a huge brunch because I love to cook. So I'll cook this huge spread for brunch, and then that'll transition into watching some college football or maybe pro football, but I prefer college. And then after maybe midday, about 4, we're going to break out the spades game and play spades and play cards until midnight or 2 in the morning and just cook and eat and have a good time. So that would be my favorite day to spend the day off.
That's, that sounded good to me. I'm like, I'm down.
You got to be able to play spades though. You got to be able to slap cards.
Okay. My grandmother was a card shark. So I have been playing cards since I was probably
Here we go.
3 years old.
Until you watch my 101 spades video, you're not qualified,
No.
but okay. I'll let you.
Okay. My mother's in the background like, yeah. It's my dad's side of the family. She's like, yeah, that's That's all we grew up doing was playing cards, and you played cards and played sports. That was it.
Is there actually a Chief Perry Spades 101 video?
There's some apps that I will recommend to novice
Oh, okay.
players. I hold that video out for people who just really need some help, but I trust Keith. He has some level of skill. I trust him.
Yeah, Drew, I'm going to give you a word of caution. If you don't fully know the rules, don't sit at the table. Friendships end behind spades games.
So Keith, I know we're gonna get to the rest of these questions. Do you play with the deuces or just jokers? Jokers and joker, ace?
I play with the deuces.
Oh, next question. Let's go to the next question. We have Benita here. What kind of mental health behavioral training do your officers receive? Because we can't talk about spades anymore with Keith. Benita, they attend crisis intervention training, which is vital for our officers. And I'm going to be honest, every law enforcement officer, every sworn officer should have this training, because there's never any forewarning when an officer may have to deal with a mental health crisis case. And so where I think officers have challenges, I think where we've seen some of these blunders in the media is because these officers have not attended that training, and they're not comfortable dealing with people who might be experiencing a mental health crisis. So right now we have 48 of our total staff trained in it, and that's outstanding. And we're going to get the rest. We had a training session scheduled for this month, but of course, COVID eliminated that because they don't do virtual training. But it's our goal to have 100% participation in training for crisis intervention. We have some who go above and beyond and go through some other behavioral training, especially our investigators and those who deal with sexual trauma type investigations. But CIT is what you want to know. And then if you're ever involved in a call and you need mental health assistance, say I want an officer to respond who's trained in crisis intervention training. So you just don't hopefully get somebody who's just answering a call and they're not really equipped on how to deal with that. Hope that helps.
Okay. Can I have my job back? Are we good? We good now? Are we good? I know how to play it numerous ways, but I'm just saying, can I have my job? I mean, I think I got fired, Drew.
I'm over the
no,
I'm good.
No spades, no questions.
So Bobby Kuntzman, who is a graduate of Florida State, feels the need to know, which I feel like I know the answer, garnet and gold or Carolina blue. And I think the color's like really maroon. I don't think it's garnet, but whatever.
So Bobby, with all due respect, when Florida State is playing, I pull for them. I was pulling for them last night. I'm happy to see them doing well. But if we were to go, like when we traveled to Tallahassee, I was on the North Carolina sideline. I had on my favorite blue North Carolina socks. I was pulling for my Tar Heels because this is my team. So I'm rooting for my home team. So it is definitely blue, Carolina blue.
There we go.
Yes, and Bobby, you should fall in line and follow suit. Just saying. So Kevin would like to know, what is the worst job you have ever had?
Kevin, when I worked as a loader for UPS, when I was in college, I worked for the United Parcel Service, and I was there in the evening hours when it was hot, and it was my job to get in those long feeder trucks that you see on the highway and load those trucks with packages that were coming down this belt into the truck. I hated it. I hated that job, but it paid extremely well. And my friends would say, "Are you crazy? You could stay on this job and some of the feeder drivers make $300,000 a year and this job could progress." I said, "I don't care. I will go fight fires before I stay in this truck." So that was the job that I was just like, I don't want this job anymore. I hated it.
Oh, and I bet it was the worst around this time.
Let me turn things around then. What's your favorite part of your current job?
My favorite part of my current job is that it's never the same thing every day, Drew. I get a combination of, opera, sports, education, informative events. inaugurations. I get a little bit of the burglary, some drugs, some, criminal element, but it's never the same every day. And I look forward to it. But the most important is seeing the development of our young students and keeping in touch with them over the years. So I have, gosh, over the last 20 years, so many now that are doing well and successful, and just so proud of their accomplishments, and to see that we're a part of keeping them safe and kind of leading them forward.
Lord, we've had all that stuff on the campus.
Oh yes, and more and more.
And I didn't even know. I mean, I usually have my ear to the ground and hear a whole lot that's going on, but some of that stuff got past me. I have to do better. So, what is your favorite ice cream topping, if you like ice cream,
Love
and
ice
your
cream.
favorite ice cream flavor? And first of all, before you say, if you say some old person flavor like butter pecan, I am going to lose it.
Well, my favorite topping is peanuts and caramel. So some kind of sweet and salty topping. And so anything caramel crunch is my favorite ice cream. I won't go back to the vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry all in the same container. I won't take you back to those days, but anything caramel, pecan, praline crunch, that's my favorite.
So what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla bean.
Okay, at least it's not butter pecan,
No, vanilla bean.
which my daddy tries to feed me. And I'm like, I am not a 78-year-old man. I'm not.
I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, I'm telling you, our people are loving the Segway.
They're loving the
So Wayne wants to know, how long did it take for you to get comfortable on the Segway, or was it just like jump on and ride?
Wayne, it took me one day. It took me one day to get comfortable on the Segway because I wasn't afraid of it. I knew the technology was gonna keep me upright if I followed directions. But I have fallen twice off of it, and I can tell you exactly where. I can tell you how I fell, and I was doing something that I should not have been doing on the Segway, and I paid the price for it twice, and I won't do it anymore.
Well, falling never counts if no one's around.
Correct. Well, they were around one time, but I was on that ground and up so quick. People were like, "What happened?" I was like, "Nothing. You didn't hear anything." I was up.
All right. So Benita would like to know, do you offer Citizens Academy training, the opportunity for local citizens to train with officers? She had the opportunity to do a ride along and simple traffic stop, and it was pretty intense.
We are going to restart our Citizens Academy when we are through this pandemic. It's a very important component to the campus community because the attendees get to go back and share their experiences with people to learn how intense a traffic stop is, to learn that officers can't just shoot the gun out of someone's hand when they see those type of stories on the news, and just to know all the programs and services that are available. So I brought my many, many years of experience to UNC to help revitalize and improve our plan. And it's going to be one of the best Citizens Police Academies when we restart.
Okay. And she would also like to know, can you ride a motorcycle?
My dream is to own a motorcycle. And I know my dream is going to come true, hopefully next year. I've ridden as a young teenager, but over the years, I've just been told, oh, it's so dangerous and this and that. Look, life is dangerous. So I am getting either a Harley or a Goldwing or an Indian. Harley, Goldwing, or Indian are on my list.
There you go, Benita. So what song always gets you on the dance floor?
I saw that question, and the first thing that popped in my head was the bus stop song. Anything with the bus stop in it, or this old song called "Set It Off on the Left, Y'all." It's an old song. I would go out and dance to that. But anything
I know it.
modern, I will. Mm-hmm.
Drew, do you have a dance floor song? What's yours, Drew?
Probably some of Michael Jackson's, 80s tunes. That'll get me out there for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Love me some Earth, Wind and Fire. Love all that my generation of music love it. But I love music of all generations. I think it's important to stay current.
Yeah, like it just takes music for me, and I'm out there. I was like, it's
a good beat.
Music on, let's go. The beat just dropped. Let's.
Girl, you got me moving.
Yeah, and I'm up. Oh, okay, Ion. With the current challenge, and as I read these names, I realize that you probably know some of these people. With the current challenge, with the continual killing of Black men in America by police force, how do you manage this in your role, and how are you having conversations with your force to make sure that mentally they are in a good place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting position to be in, Keith, as a minority law enforcement leader who has family who see these same incidents happening around the country. It's a very tough position to be in because I have to answer all the questions of why did this happen? How does this happen? Are all police this way? And so I'm very sensitive to what's happening in our country, and not just now, but over the last 20 years, to be honest. I've always tried to stay ahead of these types of situations. And what I mean by that is that we have to always be sensitive and aware of people and treat people fairly and equitably every time we have an interaction with them. I know that there are some issues with this company that I'm going to mention, but in my mind, customer service is everything. And so I would talk about Chick-fil-A and my pleasure and how people seem to go above and beyond when it just comes to the service aspect. I'm not talking about some of their other practices. And so I would always talk with my staff about going the extra mile, remembering that everyone has a story. Everyone should be treated, with kindness and all those things that you would expect, just like that was your loved one, your family member, someone you cared about. And it's hard. So I show them examples of things that have happened around the country that are negative, and how we should learn from those situations and build policy and best practices to never, ever be in those situations. And then when we don't do things right, I address it, and I don't shy away from internal discipline and holding people accountable, regardless of their rank or how long they've been with the university.
Thank you. So you mentioned you love to cook, as you offered to make us all brunch, and we watch football and then play some card game that I'll not talk about again. But so what is your favorite food to cook?
Oh, that's so difficult. If I were to put my food pictures on the screen right now, people would swear they were Getty images that I copied and pasted, because my family are like, oh my God, that is so, like last night I made shrimp pasta and it turned out really, really, really good, right? I got leftovers. But my favorite food on the planet to eat and consume is potato salad. So I think I'm the best potato salad maker on the planet. I love making shepherd's pie. I love cooking a good piece of salmon. But brunch, I think my entire brunch is like my favorite meal, my favorite thing to prepare.
It's interesting you bring, about potato salad, shepherd's pie. How do I put it? They're kind of humble dishes, So interesting that those are what you point to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna put it out there. At the cookout, you can't just have anybody bring the potato salad.
You're right.
Because everybody does not make potato salad the same.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you put raisins in your potato salad, you are doing it wrong. I don't know.
That's like playing spades with the deuces. It's just all wrong. It's just all wrong, man.
Officer Perry, I'm going to say that's even worse.
I have to agree.
I mean, playing with the deuces is just an adjustment that you have to make.
That's
raisins in potato salad or something like
send
that.
It back. Send the person home.
That's a lifestyle change.
Eggs, relish, depending on a person's palate. Celery, onions, and bell pepper. I use red and green to give it some color. Mustard, and I have 2 or 3 secret ingredients to really bring out the flavor.
I'm just gonna put out, I am a potato salad connoisseur. So when we get back on campus, I'm gonna need you to make some and bring it over and see if it passed the test.
It will. It's an award-winning recipe, but yes, I will, Keith.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm not even worried. I'm not
You
worried.
you talked it up, so
I'm not worried.
So we have some really interesting questions this go around, some that we've not had before.
Mhm.
What's the phone app you use the most?
I want to make you laugh and say that phone app that I really depend on. I really depend on Evernote because I like saving information and going back and referencing it. But y'all, my favorite app is TikTok. I'm like, TikTok is my friend.
Wow.
TikTok brings me recipes. TikTok brings me some mental relief when I see something funny. So I love TikTok.
I've not downloaded TikTok. I've not done it yet.
Keith, kind of come into modern times, okay? Come on.
I have everything else. Like I'm literally sitting here thinking, what do I use the most? But
I've never uploaded to it, but it is.
Now,
I mean, it is fun. It is a time suck, but
now that is not to say I've not sat and watched TikTok videos because I have.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an 19-year-old niece. So there may just be some TikTok videos with me in it. So I'm just so all right. So we are in the middle of COVID, a lot of work from home, which I'm sure you're not working from home, or at least not a lot, or if ever. What has been your COVID stress relief routine?
COVID stress routine is some type of exercise in the morning, some type of meditation, prayer, and then my music. Man, I gotta have my music, my jazz music or whatever I'm feeling. That's the routine to kind of set the tone for me.
Okay. I'm with you on the music. And mine varies. Like some days I have a playlist called "You Need Jesus," and then my next one may be just straight gangster rap. I don't know. It depends on how.
Trap music. You need a little trap music to get the blood going.
I'm
right?
just saying.
Right.
You know, it depends on where your headspace is that day. What's going to get you through? For those of you who could see the questions, Alexandra said she loved the Set It Off song and she dropped the link in the questions. So, so there you go. Do you play video games?
I do. I have an Xbox. I own an Xbox. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is your favorite board game or video game?
So hands down, Monopoly is my favorite board game. Hands down. Love Monopoly. I also like categories. Have you heard of categories?
Yes.
But I changed the categories to fit. Yes, I got my own branded categories. It's a killer. I'm telling you, the categories will blow your mind. Like soul food, favorite sitcoms. I changed the whole game up. Yep.
Okay, so you basically just created your own. Okay.
Using the same template and format and framework of categories.
I'm getting the feeling of Chief Perry that you are 100% going to do things your way, and that's just talking about. Yep, nope. We're doing it. We're going to do this. We're playing.
They made that board game wrong.
We're playing categories, and we're going to do it this way.
It's called enhancing, and I enhance the game. I still have their categories, but I believe in making things better. That's all.
Okay.
Every place I've been, I believe in making it better.
Okay. All right. So how would your 10-year-old self react to what you do now?
They would be blown away. I think they would be like in awe. I think they would be like, wow, you've met, now President Biden twice. You've met India Irie. You've been to events all over the country. You've met President Barack Obama. You've been to concerts. You speak to these different groups of people, and I'm always nervous speaking to groups of people. I think the variety of things that I do for them would make them say, wow, I hope it would inspire them to want to do something, good and great.
Okay.
What's the story behind? I'd love to hear about meeting either Obama or Biden or both.
Both are just unbelievably wonderful people, just outstanding leaders. But I've met President Obama twice. The second time I almost got shot. I'm jokingly say I almost got shot because we're in Chicago at a major conference and he just finished speaking. And I was on the greeting line to greet and shake his hand. And as he gets closer, people are pushing and shoving and really getting aggressive because they want their space to get up to try to do the same. And me and my colleagues started pushing back a little bit and they started pushing more. And I told my colleague, I said, hey, look, the closer the president gets, the more still we need to be. Because if we start a skirmish or we look like we're fighting, we're all shot. We're all gonna die, right? So we're after the president. So let's just chill. And I shook his hand and I told him that, hey, you owe me a visit to the White House because when I was with Florida State, we won a national championship, but because of other behind the scenes things going on with one player, we didn't go to the White House. So I said, you owe me a visit and one day I'm gonna work for you in some capacity. And he's like, okay, I'm waiting on it. So I got a picture of him saying that and shaking my hand.
Okay, so this was, my question was gonna be, and is, this was while he was a sitting president?
Correct.
Okay, because that is a dream of mine, is to meet at least one sitting president in my life. So it's time for me to start that initiative again.
Keep speaking it.
So yeah, so you met President Obama.
And Vice President.
And Vice President Biden at that time, now President-elect Biden. Did you ever meet First Lady Michelle Obama or Second Lady Dr. Jill Biden?
I have pictures with Second Lady Jill Biden, and I gave up my picture opportunity with Michelle Obama to my Deputy Chief of Police. So he took the picture with her, but I've met her as well.
Okay, you are a very, very kind person.
Very kind.
Very kind.
Because I could have had both pictures side by side, but it happened.
Because I personally would have said, you can have the one with President Obama. I'm going to take the one with First Lady Michelle Obama because she is perhaps my favorite human being on the planet.
She's amazing. And so is now First Lady Jill Biden. She was.
Yes.
I remember my daughter met both of them, and now President Biden kneeled down to talk to my daughter for at least 3 minutes, took pictures on a knee, picked her up and held her. And now she's 17, 16, she'll be 17. Now she has those pictures to look back on when she was 7.
Okay. So you have a 17-year-old daughter, something we've learned. How's the year going there for her?
She hasn't missed a beat. She's never made a B in her life. She's made all A's. She's a junior that's dual enrolled at Florida State and at Tallahassee Community College and doing really, really well and wants to be a civil rights attorney.
Okay. Well, there you go. Some people are thriving school-wise in this pandemic.
She's thriving.
And then there are others that just, they can't, it's not clicking. I don't know. I guess it all depends on the person. So let's circle back to sports because you mentioned, and I'm going to keep bringing this up.
Okay.
When you make us brunch, we're going to watch football. So is football your go-to sport, or is it your favorite sport?
Football is my go-to, but I love all sports. I could watch basketball, I could watch baseball, I could watch tennis, definitely soccer, field hockey. I can watch any sport. But if college football is on, I am glued in because I've been so connected and can see behind the scenes so often what goes on in the locker room, the pregame speeches with the coaches, the emotion behind it is just very unique. Okay.
I agree. I could watch all sports all the time. Doesn't matter the sport, with the exception of soccer. I can't do. It's a whole lot of running, and we end up with a 0-0 score.
But it's very exciting. I've been to several soccer matches here at UNC, where really we're a soccer school, quite as kept. So.
Now that is the only time I can sit and watch soccer is if UNC is playing. I love UNC that much that I will sit through an entire soccer match,
Mhm.
0-0, going to penalty kicks, but I just sat here and watched all 130 hours of it. But
Not that bad.
so you said you went to Florida State with the football team? Or
No, I would
you were just
travel.
at the you just went to the game?
Well, since I worked as an administrator, I would be at every home football game. It was my responsibility for safety and security at the stadium. I was a vice president for safety and chief of police. So every home game, crowds of 75, 80,000 people inside and another 7 or 8,000 outside around the stadium. But it was just a very electric atmosphere, almost the same as to what Mac Brown has brought to UNC, especially last year when we had home games.
Okay. Now, okay, have you ever been, which I think is one of the neatest places to go to a college football game, just simply because it was, Syracuse in the Carrier Dome?
On my list, Keith, it is on my list. Next season, I will definitely visit. But I've been to some other very interesting sites as well.
Okay. Carrier Dome, really cool. They're making some changes. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
I've been there on the sideline, homecoming game. It was pretty exciting.
It sounds like
Um,
I want to see that. I got to see what that bubble is like.
yeah, I don't know when they're making the changes. I hope you get to see it before all of that is done.
Me too.
So, um, I just had a question that just completely
I'll tell
went
you
out
my
of my head.
favorite stadium and my favorite venue, the most historic and goosebump experiences. That is in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. So
Okay.
I was able to be there twice, once for the national championship game and then once the following year for the runner-up. But that national championship game, when first of all, the Rose Bowl parade was phenomenal, but that stadium when the Jets fly over, right nestled into a golf course, it is a unbelievable backdrop. The only thing second to that is the Coliseum in Los Angeles to see a game there.
Okay. So, as far as school, where did you go to school?
I attended Albany State University in Albany, Georgia.
Okay. Did you play sports there?
I did. I played football and baseball. I was a football scholarship athlete and baseball scholarship athlete.
Okay. I just wanted to ask and not assume because I get that assumption. I'm 6'2",
Mhm.
about 280, walking across campus, and people be like, "So what did you play when you were here?"
Right,
I'm like, "Nah, I just went to class.
right.
I just went to class." So, when it's okay to freely travel again, what's next on your list? Where would you like to go?
Cabo.
That was that was like very quick answer. Like
Very quick.
Cabo,
Already,
like
look, I got a trip on hold, so I'm ready. I'm just waiting on this vaccine to kick in. We get 70% herd immunity. So
oh yeah. he's like, no, I've
Cabo,
already
I'm looking at.
pretty much paid for that trip. We're going. We're
I'll go by myself. If my boys can't get it together, then I'll work it out. But Cabo.
oh, okay. All right. You might want that's is it Cabo that Bobby goes to all the time, or Bobby goes somewhere in Mexico
Mhm.
I think
that
that's right. That sounds right.
yeah, or something. I don't know. You'll have to talk to him. He's all over the place. Um, so any other places that you'd like to visit that are on your list? Like where's your one? I know Cabo is next, but
Mhm.
what is your like top destination? Where you want to go? What do you want to do?
I turned down a trip about 4 years ago to go to Jerusalem as part of an exchange program. And so now that's back on my list. I want to go to Jerusalem. And then after that, I have to go back to Frankfurt, Germany, and kind of see where I used to live and experience the food and maybe try to catch Oktoberfest and make it really festive during that time. So between Jerusalem and I want to go back to Frankfurt for sure.
Okay. Like me, I want to go to Alaska
Been
and
there.
see the whales migrate. That's all I want to do. So if you could go back to any time in history, where would you go?
I don't know the exact time or date, but I would want to go back to a time where I could kind of change history and change the issues with race. I don't know what time or where that would be, but if I could be in that moment where race didn't become an issue and change that person or people's group who were in the room, their minds or something. I don't know. I don't know when that is.
About 75 BC, I guess.
Whenever it is. I don't care. Just send me back equipped with what I know now and who I got to take out. So just let me know so we can end racism in our country or on our planet.
So I have a question. So you said you're bringing back the Citizens Academy and stuff. With that, is there a gun safety portion to that?
There's not a gun, but gun safety is discussed. And we talk about the locks and where to safely store weapons, where they can be stored in your vehicle. So there's some safety to it. We don't actually handle firearms, not in that class, until we take you to the range. I think that's an important component that may not have been involved in the past, where we're going to take you to a shooting range and let you shoot our handguns and our rifles, our assault rifles that we carry every day. So you'll know the type of weaponry that we have, and then you'll know what it's like to actually fire those weapons and how hard it is to hit that target that you're shooting at.
Okay. So when this comes around, how do we get our names on the list?
You all will be on the top of the list because you hosted me for Ask Anything, and then the union is like a great soil for you to go out and introduce the program to others, talk to students about it. So we will definitely talk with you all first and give you like 5 preferential seats to get in there.
Okay.
Fantastic.
See, I have signed up for on Saturday to take the class for the concealed carry permit.
Okay.
It's something me and my dad and I are doing together. Mm-hmm. Any tips you have for me?
It's a piece of cake. It's not hard at all. The concealed carry is really a check the box type class, so you can get through the nomenclature of a handgun and know the safety procedures and what your responsibilities are when carrying a handgun in a vehicle.
Okay. Because I'm someone who's never even shot a gun before, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. So I'm a little bit excited.
No SWAT training, no getting down on one knee and having to shoot a target or anything like that. Piece of cake.
No, okay. Well, we'll do that when I don't know. But no, there's
some great ranges here that you can go to, indoor ranges, and shoot and practice.
Well, good, because if I end up going through all this, of course, I'd want to practice, and just continually learning and honing skills and things. So, Drew, you have any more questions? Anyone else have any more? Oh, wait a minute.
I see Beth chimed in with one more.
What's your favorite story about yourself? I don't know. Oh, that is interesting.
Right.
I'm trying to think what's my favorite story about myself.
I gave you the almost got shot meeting Barack Obama. That's pretty.
I know that one's good. That was a good one. Like that was good.
Not a favorite story, but I just had to tell it. I met my primary care physician for the first time since I'm here in North Carolina. And I told him how I flew to Johannesburg, South Africa on a visit. I was the president of an International Campus Police Chiefs Association. And part of my duties was to go over to South Africa to take part in their conference. And so that experience for those 7 days was phenomenal. Being on a safari, meeting the people of Johannesburg and Botswana, just learning the culture was great. But Keith, I probably should have not made it back from that trip, because on the flight over for 18 hours, I sat next to the window, I had my little 2 drinks, I watched my movies, and I never really got up except to use the restroom maybe twice. And so I didn't move and stretch like I was supposed to. And so when I landed in Johannesburg, South Africa, and stood up to get off the plane, it felt like I was having a heart attack.
Oh.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand what was going on with my body. I thought I was just excited to be back in the homeland in South Africa. I didn't know what was happening. But fast forward, not 7 days, because when I flew back, I was still feeling even worse. I went through 5 days of a presidential search to confirm the president at the time, and it was very tumultuous. There was a lot of protests, so I didn't want to miss. And I finally broke down when my president was confirmed. The next 10 minutes, I called my doctor, told him the symptoms, and he said, I need you to get to the hospital immediately. Because it felt like my whole body was being stabbed by knives. It just felt horrible. But I had blood clots. I had pulmonary embolisms all throughout my chest, all throughout my body, because I didn't stretch and move around on that flight. And it was very close to being worse than that.
And you walked around with this for, I'm counting about 12, 13 days?
14 days.
14 days. Yes. I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
you are lucky to be here.
I was
That one's a bit scarier than the almost being shot meeting President Obama. Like
right.
that one is.
And so just being immobile on a flight can cause that?
Absolutely.
Wow. I had
Now,
no idea.
how long was the flight again?
18 hours.
18 hours. Okay.
You got to get up and stretch. And no one told me about wearing compression socks. The alcohol, the couple of drinks I had kind of lowered my blood pressure. And it was just a recipe for disaster when I didn't get up and stretch. And I didn't know that.
Mm.
But Richard Bloom, he was a famous ABC, I want to say, correspondent. He passed away from a pulmonary embolism because he would travel a lot. And then, of course, the doctors pointed out all these dead people. Like, it's really serious about stretching. So anything over 4 hours, you should move around, stretch, or wear compression socks.
Okay. Well,
No idea.
that almost happened to Serena Williams.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to be in the company of Serena Williams, but that one I'm gonna forego. I don't really need to be in that. So Miss Benita again, what can we as a community do to encourage our Black youth to look at joining law enforcement? We do need more Black and brown faces.
So you should introduce them to people who they look like in law enforcement. I try to do my best as being a member of the National Organization for Black Law Enforcement Executives to promote law enforcement, but also promote, the fair and equitable treatment of all people. I conduct a training class called it the Law in Your Community, but it's really about how to interact with the law enforcement officer during a traffic stop, what's consensual, when do you have to give up your Fourth Amendment right of search and seizure, when do you have to provide information, just this inside knowledge that many of our community members, especially our Black and brown community members, are not exposed to. They think that if an officer says, "Hey, Drew, can I search your car?" You're supposed to say yes. Or "Can I search you?" You're supposed to say yes because it's a law enforcement officer, and people don't know that they have the right to give consent or not give consent in certain situations. You don't have to give up your rights when interacting with law enforcement.
All right. So is that something you teach on the campus now currently?
When I'm invited, I've been partnering
Okay.
with the Trax Institute, and I've done probably 5 different sessions. Pretty powerful. Everybody's very, very happy that they heard that session, and they go out and tell other people, "Man, did you know this? Did you know that officers can do this? Did you know you can withdraw consent at any moment?" So yeah, I'd be interested in. I've been trying to partner with the Black Student Movement and any other organization of color, but it's about trust. We went through a tumultuous time here over the last 2 years with the police department, and so many still see me as just another person coming in, or a police officer, or part of the establishment, and they could be never so more wrong than that. Something like they've never met before that will be their advocate. I'll tell them right, but I'll tell them what's not right. I'll tell them that I'll hold my staff accountable, but you have a responsibility as a student, employee, or staff member here at the university. So it's just trying to overcome the challenges of the past to really get a breakthrough.
Well, I'm sure we have a few people in the union that would be willing to help you with furthering this training in that class alone. I can think of a few, and if you ever need any help with anything, let us know at the union. We are glad to help. We will do what we can. And if not, well, you can come teach it to all of us employees at the union, because I'd love to know that stuff. So there's that invitation. So we're
Sure,
gonna set.
set it up. Let's set it up in January, and then
Okay.
for a small group. And then once you see it, then you'll go back to students and say, you gotta go to this, and you gotta invite other students, especially students of color, to hear this truth and this powerful information that will help them stay safe, but also give them the empowerment to know that they can get through a difficult situation, maybe with an officer who's not acting appropriately, and know what to ask, and then how to respond.
Absolutely. Um, Absolutely. We will set that up in January. I will email you. We will be in contact. So we are close to the end of our time. I just want to say you have the most storied life of anyone we have had on here so far. It's like
definitely most stories.
You've been everywhere. You've been lots of places, done so many things. Okay, okay.
Ion wants to play spades.
Ion says, when us rookies play spades, let him know. I am not a rookie. Okay.
I'm working from home just for this moment, and I look over at my dining room table and I see 4 decks of cards just sitting there waiting. 3 of them are brand new. That's how I roll. I stay ready. In the work truck is a deck of cards just in case.
Oh, all right. I think we have 4 people. Benita said she's in. So we're gonna
There's no deuces, people. No deuces. I'm out.
I can play without the deuces, but when I run the table, don't get mad. Like, just don't get mad. You better hope you're on my team.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. So we got a few more people saying they're in because I play. If you lose, you get up from the table. You got to sit out around.
Let's do it.
There's no running it back.
Let's do it.
So Chief Perry, I just want to say on behalf of all of us at the union, thank you for participating in this today. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, all the work that you've done over the past year. It is greatly appreciated. A lot of the work that you do, I know, goes unnoticed or unacknowledged. I just would like to let you know that us at the union completely, thoroughly support you and appreciate what you have done. Thank you for joining us today. Do you have any parting words for the people of the Carolina Union?
It was my pleasure. I look forward to hopefully being invited back. We are connected. Our departments are connected, because of our student involvement and engagement. And I just look forward to meeting more of the great staff there. And I can't wait for this spade game to break out. I can't wait.
All right, I'm just gonna say, if I show up to the game, I'm gonna be mad if there is no food.
You gotta have food. Food is fellowship.
I mean, I'll bring some sodas, but I ain't cooking.
Cool.
All right. Everyone, thank you for joining us for this episode of Ask Me Anything. We will have another one in January where our guest will be Student Body President Reeves Mosley. And then in February, it will be the president of the Graduate and Professional Student Federation, Ryan Collins. So those are our Ask Me Anythings for January and February. Those dates are coming. Thank you all for joining. Hope you all have a good rest of the day. Thank you, Chief Perry. I hope you all have great holidays. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you all. Thanks. Bye.